Hi, this is Dave Chenault with SkyLite Systems, and in this short video, I'm going to show you how we've integrated scanning into SideKick 365 xRM. SideKick 365 xRM is an app that we wrote for SharePoint that runs in Office 365 or on servers on your premise, and it's made to manage your sales pipeline. So, as you can imagine, it's very common that you're going to want to get paper, scan it in, and associate it with an opportunity or an account. So let's do that right now. I've got a Kodak i2400 scanner hooked up to my laptop. You might hear it in the background. And I'm using the Smart Touch software that's delivered with the scanner to do all the scanning and the processing of the various documents in the system. So what's going on is the system is scanning through the documents and it's looking for blank page separators right now. When it finds a blank page in the stack, it'll separate those into separate files. So in this case it found 2 blank sheets in the stack of paper, and I now have 3 files. So I'm good with that. That's what I want. And I'm going to say OK. And what it's doing now is it's actually, the Kodak software is formatting these image files. It's applying OCR and it's making them searchable PDF files that we will then pick up with our add-in and import those into SideKick 365 xRM accounts and also into opportunities. So we'll let the Kodak software finish processing, and then what will happen is you'll see that I will log into our system, SideKick 365 xRM, and I'll be able to then tag the files and save them right up into the cloud. So just another minute here. And again, we're not really dependent upon any particular scanner manufacturer or multifunction device. What we do is we look for the files that are created. They could be on a file share, they could be on a local disk, they could be up in the cloud for that matter. And then our utility kicks in, picks up those files, and then puts them into Office 365 or on-premise in SideKick 365 xRM. So let's take a look. You'll see that we just logged into our system. And now what we're going to see is a preview of the document, and it'll let me tag it, which is great. So here I'm going to say this one is kitchen, and I'm going to attach it to this 3 new milkshake Matina opportunity here in Sam's Burgers, and I'll call this one a scan. Okay, let's go to the next one. Here I've got a review, a checklist, so I'm going to call it a checklist. We want to make sure all this is done before we install the machines. And you see here too that I've got Sam's Burgers and the same opportunity, and this one I'll just leave. I think I'm going to call this one a checklist, right? And we'll go to the next one, and this is the contract. So here I'll take it and say contract, and I'm going to leave it with that opportunity, and I can scroll down to see all the different pages in the contract, and I'm ready to upload. But before I do, let's just kind of review real quick to see what we've got. I've got the kitchen image, I've got a checklist, and I've got the contract. And what's so great about this is I just stuck a big stack of paper in the scanner. I'll put a blank page between each one, and now I can see the images and tag them. So what you're seeing right here is our add-in. We're looking at the files, and this could come from really any device. So let's go ahead and upload them. So when I do that, it's going to grab the files and push them up into Office 365 in this case. In your instance, it might be that you have it loaded online in a hosted environment somewhere else, or it could be on-premise, or it could be in Office 365. Wherever you've put SideKick 365 xRM is fine with us. So let's go take a look and see how it looks. So when I go into that opportunity, I'm going to see some new documents that have been pushed into that. And I should see those scans that I just made in the system. So if I click on my Documents tab here, I'll scroll over to those. And what I'll see over there is I'm going to see those new scanned files that I just pushed into the system. So we'll give it a minute here to go over there. And there they are. I've got my checklist, my contract, and my kitchen file. So if I just click on it, let's click on the contract. And you can see it's a PDF, but it actually, interestingly enough, it launches the Word web app viewer. And what's great is these are searchable. So let's go take a look at some that I scanned in earlier. It takes 5 or 10 minutes for it to be indexed. So rather than watching that, I scanned in some of these files earlier into a test scanning account. And I want to talk a little bit about some things over there as well. So let's look at those documents over here. And you'll see, for example, I have the checklist here in 150 dots per inch, and this checklist is scanned at 300 dots per inch. Let's take a look at that. So you can see here it's kind of rough at 150, but let's go take a look at it if I checked the 300 dot per inch setting on the scanner. And you'll see it's much better there. Now interestingly, let's look at the size. Okay, it's only about half again as big when I get higher resolution. Let's look at the contract here. This is a 7 or 8 page document, and you can see the size difference here is about double, as you would expect with 150 dots per inch. Kind of rough. Let's look at the 300 dot per inch version of that. And again, this is just what the settings are on the scanner. But we want to do a search, and we want to see how important the resolution is to the OCR capabilities. So let's look for the word contractor, because we know we have 2 versions of this document. And let's see how well the OCR was accomplished when we did that. And we can take a look and see what it finds at the different resolutions. So I'll type in the word contractor, and let's see what we come up with. Now interestingly, we get both files. So it looks like the 150 dot per inch is good enough for the OCR that comes with a Kodak scanner, and the searching works great, but the viewing online might not be ideal. So it's really up to you. So let me recap what I showed you and explain again what we're offering. SideKick 365 xRM is a way to manage your sales pipeline. We have an add-in that lets you take scanned files and push them into accounts or opportunities. And what's great is that we don't really care what you use to collect those image files. In this case, they're PDFs, but they could be TIFFs, they could be a number of things. And so we're fairly agnostic when it comes to what vendor you use to capture the images from paper. But we do like Kodak, and we think it has a great packaged offering. When you buy a scanner, you get their product Smart Touch with the price of the scanner, and it's very powerful. So we like Kodak, and we recommend them quite highly. Anyway, that's just a recap. You can purchase the add-in for SideKick 365 xRM, the scanning, and we license it based on the device, not per user. If you'd like to know more, just get in touch with us through our website. We're at info@skylitesystems.com, and we spell SkyLite with SKYLITE, and then no space in the email address. So look forward to hearing from you. Hope you found this useful and interesting.